We are live. I'm in the garage. So I gotta see what's going on here. Not now. So as you can see, we have the 4.8 liter LS, and what we're going to do tonight is disassemble it. I'm going to need to take at the very least, at least one side, maybe two cylinder heads. We don't know. We'll have to take at least one off. The whole situation is that I got this motor basically free from a viewer, and he didn't know what kind of condition it was in, and it had been sitting for a long time out in the field. They needed to get rid of it, so I said, yes, I am definitely all in on getting an LS motor, regardless of what kind of condition it is. I'm going to go ahead and readjust here just a little bit. And any kind of LS, I'm all in. So this is free. So whatever kind of condition it is already, it's awesome. I mean, all of the stuff that's on it is worth more than free. So what I want to do is I took all the plugs out last night and tried to rotate it, and it will not spin over. So my guess is, and a couple of them had they had water in them, so they had rust on them. So I'm assuming that there's water in at least one or two of the cylinders, and it's rusted up, and that's what stopped me from running. But what we want to do tonight is take at least one of the heads off, and take a look in there, see how bad it is, and see if it's something that we might be able to, scratch all the rust out and make it work, or if it's a situation where it's bad enough where I should think about maybe, because I was offered some other parts from the guys at Summit Racing about doing another kind of buildup. And what I'm leaning toward is, and I've never done this, there are two things that I want to do in the LS world. One of them, and because we're always told not to do it, one of them is I want to bore a 4.3, a 4.8, or a 5.3 block. I want to bore it up to 4 inches. Normally, when we run them, we don't go any farther than 3.905, 3.902, which is an overbore size for the 5.7. So we don't go too much bigger than overboring an LS1, for instance. But I've heard people have told me, yes, I've gone to 4 inches on them. I don't know how thick the cylinders are, and I probably would only do it to run the motor NA. But what would be cool doing it on a 4.8 is that I could make essentially a big bore 4.8. A lot of guys would also think about it as a D-stroke 6 liter, but I like to think about the positive thing. If we D-stroke a 6 liter, it's just going to make less power than a 6 liter does. If, on the other hand, we make a big bore 4.8, then that's all nothing but good. We're retaining the stock stroke, which is good, for the RPM and the good rod ratio. And then we're putting a bigger bore, which, as we know, more bore, it's going to flow more and make more power. So I try to look at it that way. The reality is you're getting the same motor, so it's not really going to change anything in terms of power, but it will be cool. So what I want to do is we'll start taking this thing apart, and then I'll bring the camera in. You guys can take a look and see what's going on here. Maybe I'll move you a little closer so you guys can get a little better bird's eye view here of what's going on. See, it still has a converter on it. so if anybody's in need of a stock converter, I'll leave it outside and you guys can have it. So what we'll do first is we're going to take off the coil packs. Get my gloves on. This thing's pretty crusty. I already sprayed this thing off and cleaned it, so it's the way that it is after cleaning. It's, you know how LSs are. You know how the motors that I go get from the wrecking yard, they're all pretty rough, so I'm used to this. So let's see if we can't buzz the coil packs off. Come on. Let's cooperate. Okay. Coil packs. Okay. Take you off of there. So now we'll try to get to the valve cover. We'll see if this will take it off. I might need to do it with the ratchet first. We'll see. Oh, nice. Oh, it's semi-clean in there. A little bit of water from you when I cleaned it off. It's not too bad though. I'll bring you guys down here so you guys can zoom out, and zoom in, and zoom out. So you can see here, rockers actually look like they're in pretty good shape. So that's a good sign. That doesn't mean anything really for the, let's see, doesn't really mean anything for the internal parts, but you know. So now we'll take the rockers off. And as always, make sure to hydrate, which I'm going to do right now. It was a beautiful day today. Today was, I think it was 75 today, so it was really nice. So what I like to do is break all these loose. I just remove the whole thing as one unit. Those rockers are good. Everything looks like it's supposed to there. Pull the push rods out. Compare them all to each other. None of them look like bent or broken or anything. That's a good sign. So now we need to take off the these water crossovers, and we'll get those out of the way. Come on. You know you want to come up. There you go. So you want to go down there like a quarter of a turn or something? Yeah. Nice. So now we've got the water crossover out of the way. Take out the small bolts holding the head on. Get in down past all the gunk here. Not wanting to cooperate there. That one's loose, that one's loose, that one's loose, that one's loose. Okay, let's see if you're going to cooperate. There we go. Good. Those bolts out of the way. Now we can take off the 15mm one. Let's see what you guys got going on. Let's see. Do you bother to inspect the push rods? What I look for, the questions on the push rods, what I look for is, I'll grab a push rod here and you can see. So let's see if you can see that. So yeah, if you look here, you look at the push rod, that one's kind of worn. You can see a pattern on there. Let's rotate that. You kind of see a pattern. That's pretty worn. Let's see this side. That side's pretty nice. That push rod's pretty worn out. And then I also like to check the cup here and the rocker tip just to see. A lot of these things have a really high mileage on them. Like that push rod, I would replace that push rod. I mean, if you had to, you could still run it. But that thing's worn down enough to where it's changed the number of turns. It'd be interesting to measure that. that length, the length on that push rod, because of that wear, has definitely changed. So I would definitely replace that. So now we can pull this head off, get a bird's eye view. We use this, Mr. Mac, Big Mac. Sounds like you might need to be charged here. Where are you at? Oh, no, you're good. And notice, nothing but the best Harbor Freight there. All those are nice and loose now. Let's see what's going on. Cold beverage. Okay, so this is definitely a Gen 3 motor, and this is how you can tell. Long bolts, and then short bolts. Come on. That one's all slippery. Where's my... Here, these will work. Come on. Oh, you will come out. Yes, you will. Man, this is slippery. Scissors for the win. Okay. So here's the big reveal. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What are we going to find? Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's super nice. Can you guys see that? Oh, I'm pouring water up. So take a look at this. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, that's just like awesomeness. I don't think I've ever seen that before. The interesting thing is this is not a 4.8. This is a 5.3. So we'll leave this on here so I can bring the camera over and show you. But let's go take a look. You guys can get a closer look here. This is a dish piston, so definitely a 5.3. So here is the, that would be a blown head gasket. So that's not good. That would be rust. That'd be rust. That would be rust. And also some more rust over here. But not nearly as much as this one. Take a look at that. Got some good build up, some flaky Jake there going on. This one still has a little bit of water in it from when I washed it, but that's got some good stuff over there. But look, this one, this is the one I like right here. Like, this is the one I like most of all. Got like actual, I don't know. I think it was growing something in that one. But yeah, that's some hardcore stuff there. But see, definitely a dish piston. This is nice. This is like I don't know what that is. That looks like mud. Yeah, it's like super fun there. Okay, so and that's okay. That's a 5.3 because there's no bad one to have. A 4.8, a 5.3, 6.0, whatever. Because I can bore a 4.8 or a 5.3 out to a 6.0 also. I mean a 5.3. Although I would like to have the 4.8 crank and stuff in there. So tonight we'll do the poll, and the poll will be, and you guys can vote right away. Okay. Should Richard remove the other cylinder head? Okay, poll for tonight. Should Richard remove the other cylinder head? So what do you guys what do you guys think? Can it be saved? Can it be fixed? It's pretty rough. Pretty rusty. But the amazing thing about this stuff is that, here, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. The amazing thing about this stuff is that when you machine that, it's like it's all of a sudden it's all brand new. This thing obviously hurt a head gasket, and we can kind of see that there. That's definitely destroyed, which may be why it was overheating or why it stopped working and why it was parked there. I don't know what the whole story is. So while you guys are answering the poll, what do you think? Would you rather see a 4.8 crank and rods and then bore that block out to a 6.0, or just do it to a 5.3? But then if we do that, we're just making a 6.0. That's kind of not as exciting. I'm more apt to like the 4.8 combination, the big bore 4.8. So we'll get this thing out of the way. That's got plenty of rust on there. That's nice. Sweet. Okay, let's see. Let's see how our polls are. How could anybody say no that we don't need to take the other head off? I thought that would be 100%. Everybody vote. There's lots of people here. There's 200 people here. This engine will need a full rebuild. Is it worth it? I do have a 4.8. I do have a 4.8 crank laying around. I have a 4.8 crank and rods. I think that they're Gen 3 ones. I think I also have the pistons. I think all of that assembly has been balanced, but I wouldn't be opposed to putting that stuff in here. I think it would be fine. Get some 6.0 pistons, use those, use that crank and rod, and see what we can do. I think that would be kind of cool. So if we get, let's say we need 200 votes. Okay, guys, we need 200 votes. I need 200 people to vote. And as soon as 200 people vote, we'll decide whatever you guys tell me. Yes, I should take it off, or no, I shouldn't, whatever the poll says. But I need 200 people if they're voting. So make it happen. It does have all the sensors. It does have the coil packs. So that's all good, which is nice. Get those votes up. We got 216 people. Everybody vote. Here, I'll show you something cool that unfortunately I got to get back. So I have let's see. So I have a buddy of mine that loaned me this. Two barrels for a 290 inline 6-cylinder Chevy. I'm going to be giving it back to him, sending it back because I wasn't able to get, you know, I just hate holding on to stuff if I'm not going to be testing it. So I'm going to give it back to him, but I should have the 292 running before too long, I don't think. And maybe I'll hit him up once the thing is on the dyno and actually working. But this is, you know, multiple carburetors. That's always cool. Multiple carbs, yo. Everybody likes carbs, right? So what do we got? How many people we got? We got 146. Come on, keep those votes going. We got 214 people here. It's looking like I'm going to be pulling the head. Everybody go in there and vote twice or 3 times or how many ever it takes. Okay, quick. Somebody tell me what master cylinder this is for. WD-40 and a wire wheel. I'm thinking it might be a little more detailed than that, but let's see. Some of that scrapes off. Some of it, not so much. Just like flaky stuff, that's easy to fix. I wouldn't think twice about that. Some of this stuff is yeah, some of this stuff is pitted pretty good. Not that I wouldn't run it anyways if I had to. You know how we do it. Get that crosshatch going with a screwdriver, then you know everything's good. Oh yeah, that's golden. That's nothing but good there. Where are we at? 225 people, 167 votes. Come on, we're getting close. And we're at 95 and 5%. So it's looking like I'm taking his head off. I think we should get prepped for it. I have confidence in you guys. I think that you will do the right thing and vote accordingly. Okay. See how bad the other side looks. That one was a little bit stubborn. Some kind of slime in there. Big time. That's how the zombie apocalypse is going to start. Definitely going to start from a wrecking yard. So, I like those. This has been on since the factory. It has that factory click. Amazing how long these things last. Sure, where are you guys all at when I'm at West Tech? Tearing these things apart. Okay, next rocker assembly out. That all looks pretty good. A couple of those push rods definitely worn. Push rods are definitely in order. Yeah, a couple of them are worn. And you can see some of the rocker cups are kind of shiny also. It's pretty normal. Pretty standard fare. That's why when people are asking me about running trunnion upgrades, that's kind of why I tell them, yeah, it's not a bad idea. And also take a look at those on your stock rockers and tell me if that's worn out. There's a good chance, not all of them do it. There's a good chance that some of them are like that though. So I got those bolts off. So I might do these by hand just so I can show off my switchblade ratchet there, which is awesome. Hopefully this thing is strong enough. Yeah. I'm a little worried about my wooden engine stand here. It's not the best. It's not even the second best. But I do like these extending ratchets though. It's ridiculous to try to, like, this one's even nice. Somebody gave me, I think Tom from West Tech gave me, this is my only piece of snap-on equipment. And he bought me this, which thank you, Tom. That was awesome. That's the only piece I have. Everything else is Harbor Freight. But these like extension ratchets are excellent. I don't want to sit there and try to wrestle with something with a standard length ratchet. Nobody likes a short ratchet. All right. Are we at 200 volts yet? You know the head can't come off till we have 200 volts. That was the rule. Head bolts off, which we would reuse in a hot minute. Hopefully that doesn't fall off on my leg. Let's see where we're at. 208 volts, which is time to pull this thing off. 94% and 6%. That's good. I like that. See, that's why I have faith in you guys. I knew that you guys would be there. Frosty cold beverage. Okay. Let's see what this side is. So what do you guys think? Is this side going to be golden? Okay. Oh yeah. Having water pour out while you do that, that's probably not a good thing. It's about 17 different kinds of ugly. Oh yeah, that's not good. Nothing good could come from that. And I spilled yuck all over my shoes. That's not good. And it's not just regular yuck. It's like sitting in a field yuck. Told you. That's how it all starts. It's all fun and games. Oh yeah, that's delicious. It's delicious and nutritious. You rarely get the combo of the two. It's very important to get both of those. Yeah, that's not good. That's not bueno. That's not any kind of bueno. So let's take our stroll over there and you guys can take a look and see what's going on. Okay, so right off the bat, So right off the bat, I have a set of slightly used 706 heads. So if anybody's in the market for some really pristine, cream puff little fixer-upper 706 heads, I'm thinking $2,000 probably would be a good deal for these. Because they're seasoned, so that you know that the head's good. Yeah, that's not pretty. But on the plus side, the head looks bad, but the block is really nice. Let's see if I can get some better light in here or something. Hang on, I'm gonna hook you guys up. We got to get some light in there so you guys can see. It's not very light on that side. Try not to drop you. Everybody behave. Everybody be patient. Get this going. Okay, let's go. Gotta find my flashlight. There we go. Flashlight, neon light. Okay. Boom. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, now you guys will be able to see. Okay, where were we? Cylinder head. Yeah, that's really pretty. So here is one of our cylinders. That's nice, huh? Looking good. That's the best one. This one, yeah. Kind of not so much. I think I see a sea monster in there. This one over here. I think that's the I think that's a trash chute from Star Wars. I saw the little monster in there. So this is what you would call maybe a cream puff little fixer-upper opportunity. Yeah, not ideal. But what I like to see is just it's chock full of potential. That's how I look at it. But that's just me. Because that's how I roll, with potential. Fresco beverage. Yeah, that's all kinds of ugly there. That's not good. Okay, here we go. It's pouring more yuck out. That's not good. So what do you guys think? Was it what you guys thought? Was it everything that you thought it would be? So I'm going to move you guys over here, and then we can have our discussion. I can look at the comments, see how you guys are doing. I got to unscrew you here so you guys can get bird's eye view. Kind of see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to move you over just a little bit, I think. Sorry if that's loud, but you guys are tough, so it's not a problem. Not made of sugar, because that's not how we roll around here. We'll plug that in, so hopefully you guys can hear me. And then we'll go maybe up like this. That's a light. Okay, so what did you guys think? is that what you guys thought was going to happen? That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. I honestly didn't think there were going to be that many cylinders that were bad. I thought it would be one or two. I was kind of hoping. I thought maybe the others would be, a little bit more pristine, but those are far from pristine. So what I'll do is probably just take the heads and put them back on, and then we'll take it over to the machine shop and see I'll see what they think after they clean it. And, we'll figure out what to do. It does have a nice torque converter on it. But I can see now why there was no way that it was going to spin. There's no possible way. I could probably maybe chip that stuff or something. Yeah, that's fixed pretty good. That's a permanent fixture. So we had 246 votes. I like that. That's good. So we'll end the poll there. We know that we took the head off. 94% said yes, and 6% said no, which again tells me that I'm so surprised that there are ever people that just say no. Sometimes I think people say no just because they don't want to say yes, because everyone's saying yes. I'm going to say no. You get that. So we'll see what. Make sure that that's kind of safe to sit down on. And now you've lost it. So we'll go down here. Okay, there we go. Here I am. Here I am. See if I can get some questions here. The 4.8s do have flat tops. This is not a 4.8. This is definitely a 5.3. I thought it was a 4.8, but apparently it's not. Just like the hot rod deal, where I thought it was a 5.3 and it turned out to be a 4.8. This is that, except in reverse. But that's okay. I have a 4.8 crank and I have 4.8 rod, so that's not a problem. Yep, all the magic smoke did leak out. Oh, Todd, you have another 5.3. Yeah, that's in a running truck, right? We can pull that out. That would be good. Put the whole short block in a big vat of evaporust. Nice. Pull that thing apart and yep, we got the good train in the background because, it's an LS, so it's formal. How often do head gaskets fail on these? I don't think very often. I was kind of surprised to see a head gasket, although that's probably what started all of this problems, I would imagine. You can see I've got a bunch of other parts on the table here. That's actually all Dodge stuff. That's all Dodge Magnum stuff. John, thank you very much. Here's some funds to fix the issue. John, you don't need to do that, man. That's a lot of money. That's like real money. The plugs were fouled and wet and bad. Yeah, I've never, obviously, we've never blown a head gasket on it, but that doesn't mean that doesn't happen. You'll have it by running next week. I would actually, if I had to get the test done, I would take a look at ball honing that thing. Westech has a ball hone, and I've used it many times. We've used it times where I thought, oh, this thing is not even going to run. It had pits in it so bad on a DZ302 that I broke personally because I didn't index the plugs on the and we broke a plug and the plug parts all rattled around in there and destroyed everything, and we just let's just run it anyway and see what happens. And it ran great, and then I had it all machined and made it perfect again, and it didn't make any more power. So that's why I'm confident that I don't think machining and rings actually do anything. Obviously that's not accurate. Could you put an engine in a hot tank? Yeah, just individual pieces. They'll take this thing apart and put it all in and clean everything. Green is nice. It's possible to ingest water and blue the head gasket. It is. You can hydrolock a motor and it will definitely push the head gasket out. My buddy Bernie told me about his Land Cruiser where he went down through a big water hole because he's Mr. 4x4 and he's off-roading in it, and it did hydrolock. And what it did was, since water is not compressible, the gasket, he just blew a chunk of the head gasket out, and the head gasket actually stuck in the firewall. So that's how violent it was. And the water said, hey, guess what? I'm not going anywhere. And one of you other things are going somewhere, whether it's the head or the block or the piston, or in this case, the head gasket said, hey, look, I'll take one for the team. And then a big chunk of it just separated out and shot over into the firewall, which I thought was, kind of awesome. WD-40 in a ball hone. I honestly think we could get a long way with that. It might be interesting to try that. Put it in the dishwasher. Yeah, I'll see. I do have that really good spray, the Dawn spray stuff, which works amazing. JB Weld and hone and pitted cylinders, it works. I don't know if I do JB Weld. I would just hone it. And even if there are pits in it, the ring actually still seals fairly well. Time for Eagle rotating assembly. Yep, it'll rub right out. My dad's a TV repairman. He's got an ultimate set of tools. I can fix it. So please, somebody quick, tell me what movie that's from. Better buy it. I do need an industrial size can of WD-40 for this thing. Yeah, that's a good point, Charles. If this thing did hydro, if it was water and it blew that head gasket out, it would be interesting to see if the rod is now bent. What's the rod to stroke ratio for? Can somebody figure that out? I don't have my calculator here. The stroke is much shorter on the 4.8 and the rod is longer, so it's kind of a double jeopardy deal there. It's benefiting two ways compared to the 5.3. Anarchy, you did your 350 with 100 grit and sandpaper and some liquid wrench. It does. I mean, you can clean that stuff up if you wipe everything. You know what I do when I see something like that is, first of all, I go in with a screwdriver, I scratch all the big stuff out, and then I vacuum it all out, and then I clean it out with, like, I'll use WD-40 or something and clean it and just see where you are and go, okay, this is not horrible. And then a lot of times, depending on where all of the bad stuff is, I don't even take the pistons out. I mean, I'll ball hone it with a piston in there, because how much damage can I really do? I know people think, oh, you got to take it all apart and clean it and hermetically seal it. No, it's a wrecking yard motor. Look how bad it was. It's fine. And so I'll ball hone it the way that it is. Some of this stuff is all the way down. Some of these pistons are at bottom, dead center. So it's a little questionable. 4.8 heads on a 5.3 is nice. A 4.8 and a 5.3 head is the same head. 4.8 pistons, that makes more sense. Yeah, that's different. Acetone and ATF. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. That's ATF is how we used to cure the seized up rotaries. And when I say we, I mean another guy that I met that told me about it. It wasn't me. Because I remember driving over to my buddy's shop, and my buddy James, and I drove over to the shop, and there's an RX-7 out running at like maybe 2,000 RPM. It was idling out, and idling at 2,000 RPM, and it was blowing white smoke out like to beat the band. I'm like, oh yeah, that motor's toast. He said, oh no, that motor's good now that I poured a whole quart of ATF down it. And, he just pours ATF down it and then moves it back and forth to loosen up the seized apex seal. And then when they get the ATF in there, it frees up, and all of a sudden he has a running rotary motor. It's kind of cool. Are you going to do some part spin buildup? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, Dan, if it needs to be bored, it's not that big of a deal. Wire wheel and ring gap. Yeah, it'd be good. Rod ratio is irrelevant. Oven cleaner in the chambers. Yeah, the head I'm not even worried about. I've got another set of 706 heads. I think that those are probably fine if they're cleaned. If they're cleaned, like a little razor blade rebuild on that stuff, and I wouldn't hesitate to run those at all. I'm sure that the valves and the seats are rusted, so I'd have to do the drill and the polishing compound, but I'm sure it would come out. You're going to reuse the rod and main bearings? I probably would. I'll bet those are in pristine shape. Exactly, Motorsports Mike. You're right on. Which is he going to do, dude? So you have your 4.8 at 8,500. That seems like a lot. The rod ratio on a 6.0 and a 5.3 should be the same. Put a little sea foam in it. Yeah, that's nice. LS stuff is great, but time for some big block stuff. I actually agree. Dominic, thank you very much. This should cover a new forge crank. Yes, that they go for $1.99 all the time. I was actually looking at because I haven't told Lisa yet. I was looking at I'm looking at 1970 to 72 Chevelle, a big block car, so that we can use it to go out on date night. The other red car that I have is gone now, and it was a flat plane crank, and it was all kinds of good stuff. But I need a car that I can drive and we can go out in and not have to worry about somebody stealing it and crashing into it and stuff. Because if it's a Chevelle or a Camaro or something, I can fix that. I can't fix a 355. That's not good. Will you be doing a 292? Yes, I have more 292 stuff coming. Transmission oil. Yeah, transmission ATF works really good on these things. Oh, and by the way, I don't know how this worked out because it's awesome of these guys to do this. But I had a guy that called me and said, I just got like 3 or 4 8.1 liter, essentially 496 Gen 7 big blocks. And I want to get you one because I want you to run one on the dyno. I'm like, dude, I'm all in on that. That sounds fantastic. And he said, I'm out in the Arizona area. And I said, okay, good. When I go down to West Tech, I got no problem going out and doing a road trip out into the Arizona area. I could stop and look for rattlesnakes and coral snakes and all kinds of cool stuff. So that'd be awesome. That'd be nothing but fantastic. Road trips, I'm always down for, especially to go get a big block that I've never run before. And the icing on the cake is I talked to Brule about it today. I'm like, dude, I'm getting an 8.1. He said, oh, the 496? And then we started talking about it, and he started getting more and more excited about it. And I'm like, I got Brule on my side. That's awesome. Because he's all Mr. Big Block. He goes, yeah, we need to run one of those. That's fantastic. I said, look, it's an LS firing order. We can run it with the Holley LS management system. I said we can use Gen 6 cams in it. I said it's like, and we can use stock exhaust on it. I say it's all nothing but good. And so he's all in. So this guy has one for me that I can go out and pick up. The icing on the other icing on the icing that was already on the cake from Brule being all in on this is that I have another viewer that said, hey, Richard, I'm driving from across the United States. I'm in Texas right now. I'm going through Arizona. Do you want me to pick that motor up and bring it to West Tech? I'm like, this kind of stuff, like this stuff happens all the time. That kind of stuff doesn't really happen for me. So it's just, for you, and I owe it all to you guys. It's awesome. So it's fantastic that was able to be put together. Like I said, I got no problem jumping in the truck. It should be able to go out there and back and not have any problem, but go out there, pick up a big block. And the real cool thing is not even just that part. Like getting the big block and running it on the dyno is something that I've never run before. That is awesome. And being able to run boost on it, different cams, and all that stuff is fantastic. And learning about a new motor that I've never run. Because as far as big blocks, it's kind of other guys, I think. Not very many guys have run 8.1s. I know there are guys up on YouTube that have done it. But I'm excited about doing it. But it's meeting like new car guys. Because every time I meet a new car guy, they have new car guy stories. And it's just, I went up and picked this motor up from one of the viewers. And it was Todd. And he's an awesome guy. He showed me all his cars. Told me what great deals he had on, just all of it. It's just all car guy stuff, and it's all awesome stuff. And we need more of that in the world. We need more people getting together and working together and helping each other and all of that. That's just nothing but good stuff. So let me see if I can see some other. why not keep it a 5.3? You can. You could keep that as a 5.3. You can keep. I'm sure that the crank and rods are probably fine unless it hydrolocked. And again, if it did, it's not a big deal to change all that stuff. It's not a big deal at all. Yeah, Kurt, that's exactly what we did on the RX-7s too. Is you would go to the carburetor, open the carburetor all the way, pour trans fluid down it, and then just put a breaker bar on the bolt, and then move it back and forth as far as it would move, and keep moving it back and forth and working that transmission fluid, and eventually that like bad part of the seal or whatever would go away, and it would start running. And then all you had to do after that, and that's what this guy was doing at 2,000 RPM, he was just running it and burning all that transmission fluid out of the motor. And it did. And after a while, it stopped smoking, and he had an RX-7 that he bought for like $500. And the cool thing about the 8.1 is, like I said, we can run the 7.4, the Gen 6 big block camshafts in them, and I have some of those, so we can run that. And it does change the firing order, which I know everybody's going to say, well, but it's an LS firing order, and now you're running a big block Chevy firing order, so you picked up power just from that. No, we didn't. That's actually not a thing. The 8.1, they used it in a lot of marine applications, which Brule is very into. Also, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law both have a motorhome that has the 496 in it. So I not that they care about having more power or whatever, but I would like to do some testing on it to see what it does. Snakes in the MF and LS, nice. And an 8.1 under boost is definitely going to happen. And Brule is already talking about one. Oh, you know, Dart has a intake manifold for those, and yada yada yada, and we got to run that. And I'm like, dude, I'm all in on whatever you want to do. Can I use a Gen 4 5.3 rods and pistons on my Gen 4 crankshaft with no balancing? No, the balance is definitely different. Lots of guys do it. It will be out of balance because the balance is definitely different on those rods and pistons than it is on the Gen 4, the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 stuff. It's definitely different. Motorhome on the chassis dyno. Richard, how did you get it to turn? Did you use a big pry bar on the flywheel? Put a bolt on the bell housing and pry away? Would the in-laws be happy with you taking the motorhome apart? I'm not going to do that. They're fine with whatever power it makes stock. And theirs already has like a Banks exhaust and stuff on it. It has headers and a Banks exhaust. It might have a programmer on it. I don't know. But the guys that owned it before them, they bought it from them. It was, you know, it's in pristine shape. But I think it's already been upgraded. It's got a chip, you know. I've never built a 300 Ford, but I will, though. Richard, I was wondering if you ever explain how you got the 3800 on the Holly. Yes, it will run on a Terminator X. I'm sure it will, because I'm sure that the inputs are the same. And what I'll do is when I go down to West Tech, maybe I'll do a live feed with Ish, and Ish can explain it to you. It really only comes down to 2 wires, I think. The rest of it is just LS stuff, because all we did was hook up the we ran LS coil packs. We just didn't hook up 2 of them. We didn't hook up 7 and 8. We just ran 1 through 6. Changed the firing order, and this was all information given to us by somebody else that was already running that in their car. So whoever you were, thank you very much, and pointed Ish in the right direction. And all he did was make the necessary changes to the harness to plug in the factory. We just ran the factory crank, trigger, and cam sensor, and just plugged it in, and it works fine. Oldsmobile episodes would be nice, but I don't have any there. I haven't rotated this motor because it won't spin. Maybe if I soaked it for a really long time, maybe it would. Dan, 8.1 factoid GM program the throttle to not open fully on truck 8.1s unless the cruise control was on to reduce customer abuse. So why would you want the throttle open all the way under cruise control? Yeah, single turbo on a 300 Ford is going to be like the 292 kind of. The booster that I showed was for the Nova. I've never tried nitromethane in anything. I've never even tried methanol in anything. The 496 won't be any different than a stroked 454. I agree. It's just a big block. I mean, there's nothing magic about it, but it is magic. Oh, I've got some dirt and debris. It is magic because I don't have one. And I've never run it. That's my thing. Is it's not that. And I get that from comments a lot where guys say, well, in fact, I had a guy comment the other day. This is a perfect example. And he said, well, have you ever tried, I know that you do American cars and you do Japanese cars, but have you ever tried European cars? Now, I've owned BMWs, a 330, a couple of 330s actually, and I like them a lot, and Volkswagens. But he said, well, do you think that the new BMW is the next 2JZ? And I'm like, no, it's not. It works really well and it can make a lot of power like every other motor can under boost, but that doesn't make it like, you know, people think that some things are legendary, and I don't think that that's the case. Guys make 300 horsepower on nitro in stock in a stock H22. It seems like a lot to me. Just ball hone the motor and see if it runs. Get the ATF in the 5.3 now. It's going to take quite a bit, I think. Be interesting in turbo in my Oldsmobile 425. The nice thing about a turbo is forget about whatever motor you have. It will work on any motor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that people think that only an LS works under boost or only a 2JZ or a rotary or whatever it is. They all will take boost, all of them. I have seen LT about the 8.1 build. And the aftermarket, Neil, the aftermarket doesn't determine what's worthwhile. You actually determine that. And that's what I like. I don't like, I mean, an LS motor with a turbo on it, we all can make 1,000,000 horsepower on it. That's really easy. I also like guys that don't do that, which is why I want to run the Chevy Sprint turbo motor more than almost anything. I've got to make an adapter plate to make that happen. But it's not going to make any power, but it's going to make more than it did. And that's what hot rodding is all about. It doesn't matter that, oh, I went 8s because I did the right thing or whatever. Oh, that's fantastic. I don't care about that. There's lots of guys that determine their self-worth and their value based on the fact that they spent the least amount of money and were able to run as fast as everybody else or more than anybody else in the world. That's not me. I like a guy that built a Boss 302. I like a guy that built a 300 Ford. I like a guy that built a turbo rotary or a compound blower turbo rotary, something weird, a straight 8, whatever it is. I like all those people. I think that all of that is awesome. And that's really what hot rodding is. Hot rodding is not, oh, I made the most power for the least amount of money. That's one aspect of it. And I appreciate that. And that's why I do lots of LS stuff, because it's in a Chevy Sprint turbo motor. A guy that puts a turbo on a Harley Davidson, it doesn't make it any less cool. All of that is good. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, this is a 5.3 and not a 4.8. I was hoping it was a 4.8. Sometimes or not. I expect you to achieve 200 horsepower of an 80s 2.2 Toyota forklift engine. See, that's just nothing but awesome. If you have a turbocharged forklift, you're my kind of guy. A turbo Jeep, a 4-liter Jeep would be awesome. It's another motor that's on the list. I have a 5.3 with nothing to put it in. And so here's what I'm thinking about on the Nova, and I really wasn't going to announce this tonight, but we might as well because I only have, well, I have one or two more minutes left. What I'm thinking about, what I'm leaning toward now with the Nova, because we're coming up near 200,000 subscriptions, and thank you guys all for that, which is awesome. 200 subs, which is very cool. And I'm thinking about a 200K giveaway and making it the Nova. But I'm going to make it the Nova with a Nova running with a motor and trans and is able to do donuts. And I'll put on all of the stuff that people have provided. There's all kinds of suspension stuff. I'm sitting here next to this brake booster. I've got a radiator, shocks, all kinds of cool stuff. What I'll do is I'm planning out, and I already talked to the guys at West-Tech. I'm probably going to buy a motor from the owner of West-Tech, just because I don't want to put a junky, greasy like this L31 in it. They've got a small block that I can put in there that would be perfect. So I can put a small block in there, and then what I can do is make it all. Oh, yay! There's Lisa with my pizza, which is awesome. Say hi, Lisa. Hello. See, and then I would lucky viewer in exchange for you guys helping me out and reaching me, helping me reach these kind of milestones. That's my plan. That's what I want to do. But before I can do that, and I'm not going to do it until I make sure that I take the car down and make it run, and at least make it kind of semi-safe so that it stops and drives and does things that it doesn't do right now. But that's kind of my plan with the Nova. Best bang for the buck Fox body. Yeah, I'm not at 200 yet. Right now we're at 197 or 198, and thanks to everybody who did. That's fantastic. You didn't have to do that. That's much appreciated. It will help pay for pizza. So what I'll do when I go down to West-Tech, which I think I'm going to go down there tomorrow, is I probably will get another LS from the wrecking yard, hopefully a running one, and then we'll do some. What I want to do is I want to run the Truck Norris cam under boost. And then I have some, obviously, we have a lot of other testing that I want to get done. Go enjoy your pizza. Built a small block Chevy 388. Nice. 476. That's going to be a fun motor. I don't know about the codes on your factory ECU because I never run them. Turbo Chunkyard from 4.6 from a Crown Vic. Go take. Yeah, Harbor Freight Tools. That's my jams. Are you going to build this 5.3 with two G40s and put it in the Nova? It doesn't need to have that. I don't know if the Saginaw 3-speed trans will actually stand up to that. What ECU did you use to dyno the L98 TPI? We just used the Holley. We just use a Holley and a distributor, and it works fine. Right now, I didn't find anything broken, just the rust. I mean, the head gasket was broken, but nothing else. Boosted big block 85. When we run boost 0.1, which we're definitely going to do, we will definitely run E85 on it. I have the stock 876 heads on a 4.8. Probably 862 heads on a 4.8 or a 706 head, but 867 head I've never heard of. I looked through videos and couldn't find a test with 317 heads on a 6-liter. Take a look at the Big Bang motor. We ran ported 317s on the 6-liter, and I have lots of tests of 317s versus other heads on a 6-liter. There's a whole bunch of them. 317 head flows kind of like a 243 799 head, but it has a lot. The chamber is not nearly as good. Turbocharged Cadillac and the Nova, probably not that. Do you think a small block is more than a 350 Buick? I don't know. I never weighed the Buick stuff. Can you do a mild 33 TBI with a stock computer? Are you gonna you're gonna struggle getting fuel to it? I think. Can't see or hear any leaks. Okay, guys, I got to get going. We we have officially taken this apart, and yes, not surprisingly, it is rusty. I have lovely pizza and lovely Lisa, which I'll take the second thing even more than the first thing. Although I'm not going to turn down some good pizza. Thank you guys all for showing up, and thank for John. Thank you very much. That wasn't necessary, but always appreciated. And as always, hopefully you guys have taken a look at the video that I put up today. That is somebody remind me what video I put up today. Oh, the dual plane intake manifold. That was really kind of cool. Single plane versus dual plane. And then on the NA version, on the milder version, I even ran the truck manifold in comparison. So, and then single plane versus dual plane on a boosted application, even at 7,000 RPM on a 4.8, which is a fairly small motor, we kind of thought this was, but it's not. The dual plane is definitely the way to go. So, take a look at that video. Thank you guys all for showing up, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Do 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 do.